Story.
Volume 1.
Well, yeah, I will do. It'll be more perfect to do it near Christmas.
Smegling Day. I know what smegling is, don't you?
I think I do.
I've just seen her.
Hello, Wendy.
The County Council Training Department. Nottingham buys him in to train for them. Nottingham.
Well, each. One's your left adrenaline. Well, they do adrenaline, and they also do testosterone and estrogen. They're quite important. Which is probably why he's just going there. I suppose one way to paying it down a bit. The fact that he wants to kind of irritated me.
We're particularly pleased to launch Sue's book because, well, for two reasons really. Sue's been one of our customers for a lot longer than both she and I would care to remember. And also, in fact, she used to be on that side of the counter, that unfortunately at Sissons and Parker's, if everybody can remember what Dylan's used to be like before, in the good old days. Becoming a bookseller and then a writer, I'm not sure whether that's poacher becoming gamekeeper or gamekeeper becoming poacher, but we're very pleased that Sue's got her new book out. And I think it's representative of how many people have come along tonight, the way that people see her in the writing world, because she's been involved in writers' groups and residencies and Radio Nottingham, and Polly, and lots of things. And we're very pleased that she's done all of that and got this book out, which says that she's corrosively brilliant.
Yes.
I've never seen Sue as being particularly corrosive, but maybe that's a side of her that will come to the fore. Sue's going to give a short reading to give you a taste of the book and hopefully to encourage you to buy it. So pass you on to Sue.
Okay, thanks. Well, I'd like to thank Mushroom for inviting me here to do this, because I remember Mushroom when it started off 20 years ago down the old Darkright Street. That was before Ross's time, wasn't it, I think? So, yeah, 20 years. So 20 years ago Mushroom opened, and 20 years hence you're celebrating your anniversary, and I've actually managed to get a book out, which is brilliant. It seems really odd to make such a fuss, doesn't it, about this little thing when we're standing here absolutely surrounded by other people's achievements in terms of writing, but it is incredibly important to me. I was trying to put things in order of importance, and I decided that probably my daughters came a close first and second, and the book comes a third. It took a while to work that out, but yeah. I'm not going to sort of make you all stand there for ages feeling uncomfortable. I won't read very much, but what I'd like to do first is to thank just about every single person here for the backup that they've given me, because nearly everybody here has supported me, encouraged me, set me going, keep me going over the last, well, 5 years, I suppose. And it's very important to me. I can't mention everybody by name. I've rehearsed this when I go to sleep at night, and there's just too many people. But I think Nottingham Polly and Alan Spooner and John Davey, who can't be here tonight, actually set me going doing creative writing and writing a novel. After that, East Midlands Arts Leisure Services, the BBC, the Writers Network, oh, it just goes on and on. Lots of people have given me lots of support, and without them, I don't think I could have had the confidence, really, to do this. So thanks, everybody. I'm going to read 2 pieces, and the first piece I'm going to read isn't by me, so that's a bit of a cheat. It's actually by a poet called Andrew Marvell, who was born in 1621. And I've included it in the book because it's what I was trying to aim for when I first started writing the book, and then I discovered that he'd already said it. So I thought, oh well, I'll stick that in the book then. It saves me a few chapters. But the book's very difficult to explain, but a lot of it is about trying to find a oneness, trying to find some sort of a voice and come together. I wasn't really quite sure what with, but I think it's partly with nature, it's partly with almost a sort of ether in which we live. And this poem particularly captures it because he starts off talking about a garden in the first stanza, and in the second stanza he talks about the life of the mind. And both of those things are very important to me, and I try and deal with those in the book. So it's not just the experience of being in a beautiful garden, but it's also the experience of being in your own mind, working from whatever happens to come out of your own mind. And as I say, I find it very inspiring. So I'm going to pinch Mary Chilhan's trick and ask you to close your eyes. I'm just going to read two stanzas. It's from The Garden by Andrew Marvell. What wondrous life in this I lead, ripe mouth do crush their wine. The nectarine and curious peach into my hands themselves do reach, stumbling on melons as I pass, ensnared with flowers I fall on grass. Meanwhile the mind, from pleasureless, withdraws into its happiness. The mind, that ocean where each kind does straight its own resemblance find. Yet it creates, transcending these, far other worlds and other seas, annihilating all that's made to a green thought in a green shade. That's it, you can open your eyes now. I think that's wonderful. So what I was trying to do was deal with that, was deal with this sort of sense of being at one with everything. And the character in my book does it by, sounds very trite, transforming themselves into some type of machine person. And the little bit that I'm going to read you now, which will be the last bit, and it's just 3 sides, is a sort of explanation about the situation that she finds herself in. It's very near the end of the book. You might find it quite hard to get into because it's written in the second person. So instead of saying she or I'm talking about you. This is your role play in the book. I'm not going to explain this too much because you'll get confused. But you, as a character in the book, if you like, are a compositor. And this describes your job, and it describes how you feel. All compositors build from other people's minds. You have gone one step further and built from your own mind. To do this, you have researched and absorbed not the vagaries of human experience, but the certainties of machine experience. Like a method actor, you've copied your machines, aped their programming and their circuitry. What you see is what you get. At every point in any function, there's only one decision to be made, yes or no, on or off. Computer bits work that way. No areas of anguished soul searching for them. On or off, yes or no. Now you can do lots of research and respond to it in a simple way. It hurts, it doesn't hurt. It pleases, it doesn't please. Reduced down to that, it makes the perfect algorithm for making fantasies. Most of your salary has gone on prosthetic surgery, but soon the work will be finished and the last bill paid off. In only 10 years, you'll have transformed yourself from a feeling mother and wife into a being who is ignorant of pain and released from desire. Never again will you suffer from loving too much or from being loved too little. You've held on to your human empathy just for as long as it takes to earn enough money to finance your last work. It's a fantasy well before its time. Those who recoil from you now do so because they can feel that machinist inside you. But they have it too. How they all love to behave in ways which are actually no less than automatic responses. Their entire lives are regulated by a series of programmed actions they're too terrified to recognise. If they doubt that, you can ask them to explain what happens in their bodies when they speak or when they eat. They can't. They don't know exactly when the vocal cords begin to vibrate or when the stomach acids bite into a hot dog. They just do it. But they don't understand each separate part of the process. Individuality, what a joke. It works both ways. They may refuse to admit you into their culture, but you participate all the same. You hum quietly in the corner. You watch them. You do a lot of thinking. They fear you because they see something strange in your eyes. They assume you're an alien, or maybe you're autistic. Yes, machines do seem autistic in some ways. But in fact, every part of your body was designed by people in highly advanced labs. By people. Your circuits, replacements for your vulnerable internal organs, are the products of human factories. You represent the pinnacle of human achievement. You're no more or less than the product of their own technology. All you've done is exploit it to the utmost. You have melded and blended until you two are now nearly all machine, and soon you'll have forgotten the change. Sometimes you wonder what it'll be like when you have no emotion. You try to imagine it, but it always escapes you. Right at the start, you ask your specialist if it'd be possible for you to keep a little joy, or at least pleasure, but they only smiled and began to explain it all over again. You wonder if you'll be able to smile. Now, pleasure is only the reverse side of pain, they said, and both have no equivalent that we know of in the inorganic world. On the other hand, they said, we can't say for sure that inorganic subjects do not experience pain or pleasure. When the time comes, if it's possible, we should like to ask you about that. The problem is, they said, that once the transition is completed, your testimony will be unreliable, since you will no longer have any trustworthy data with which to make comparisons. In fact, they said, we don't know whether we'll be able to communicate with you at all. Of course, you'll be able to output data, even words, but the concepts behind those words may be meaningless to us. We'll have to wait and see, they said. When it's all over, will you still be alive? You didn't bother to ask them that. Will you still be you? How can they quantify what you means? Of course, it doesn't really matter, because if you're still you, then that'll be okay. But if you're not still you, then you won't know anyway. You'll just be another me who's entirely ignorant of the first me. So then that'll be okay too. In the present alone and with immense satisfaction, and therein lies the answer to the pastoral fantasy, the desire simply to be with God in his garden. Maybe it doesn't really matter who God is or what the garden's like. We all just want to be there. That's to say, perhaps, we all just want to be in some fantasy place which is of our own making, and which no one else would ever enter into, because everyone's too busy trying to stay safe in their own gardens, inside their own heads. The problem is, we all desperately want someone to live in that garden with us. It's no fun on your own. In the absence of romantic love and sexual adventure, or is it sexual love and romantic adventure, God will have to do. Adam and Eve were lucky, they had each other and they had a garden, but let's not go into that just now. What do we want? We want the responsibilities of what, where, when and why to be taken away from us. You more than anyone understand that, because you alone are on the way to achieving it. That's a little bit and I'm going to stop now. I just want to say something I meant to say at the beginning and forgot. My dad died a few years ago. He would be really, really proud if he could be here tonight. So thanks, Dad, as well. And that's it.
Your glass on the face. Down and it was still got the glass on the nose. It wasn't switched off, so there's a picture of a glass shimmer. He did better than Al did. He really did. But I'm beginning to learn how to zoom it. Oh, you do well.
We went to one restaurant,
Well, he would.
He worked there, or he works there.
Still does, yeah.
And Dennis McCarthy lives not far from me.
Neither of you.
Dennis McCarthy would lower himself, I thought. No, it's just it's about 100 people, and you're in and out of it before you can turn around. All right. Where's that? It's halfway between here and great success.
It's a very cleverly written book.
I'll just finish this up.
How much pronounced that?
How?
You never do that when you go
Teach me anything.
You're going to be videoed knocking everything out.
Listen, anyway, listen. If you want to
Where we go? Start again.
So, these actually.
I think that's a pink box anyway. They said they were showing paintings and
yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't know if it was called up. Was it content or
Why did I drop out of DNA?
I feel so guilty won't have anything else. I mean, for me, I think my later festive statements and I can't get into one size tights anymore.
Oh God, I did that the other day. I bought this pair of large, sort of lycra things. It's done with.
Yeah, I think so.
Have I got receipts or something already? I'm wondering how we let this thing in the bag.
Must be ought to get that.
The problem is it goes off.
Oh yeah.
They don't
Don't use it all. Yeah.
Shall I try and clear some of the debris? Just, turn over there.
It started kind of getting networks at home. And then a swimming club started when Luke was 5.
So you used to see people on a Saturday morning.
And the Labour Party, everything. And it was this kind of matrix structures.
So I'd be interested to see what it was one of the things that could be, or maybe wasn't.
To 98
I don't remember. I thought you told me the story. Yeah, that's my fault, because when you gave it to me I didn't write down what it was and I thought it was a story. So I read it like a story, and you can imagine that's different. You know.
It's still interesting what you wrote down.
But yes, I mean, I would like that. You can tie up bits like that. Great. About 3,000 words, but I wasn't sure. We don't really use it anymore like that, so it's we say 5,000, then you get seen something like that. So, you know, yeah. I'd really like to do it again, as soon as possible. Baby. I've discovered that what you do is you sign it here. All right.
Are you busy?
Great, thanks very much.
Make sure it has a drink then. Which one do you want to sell? I think you might have gone Definitely. Absolutely agree.
Thanks.
Well, yeah. The only problem is with the other book, you've lost the sight of it.
I have to sign it here, I've just... Thanks for coming. Oh, well, you ate some, I think.
Those flowers up. We get the nice chocolate with the smile. Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah.
Did you just get Amber's t-shirt in?
Yeah. Come on, Amber. Yeah, move forward because I must. Yeah.
You only need the t-shirt, don't you, my face?
Oh, right. Got it.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's lovely.